Let's start with Copland.
Okay.
That's quite a rousing opening.
It's a rousing opening. The Fanfare for the Common Man it's iconic, of course, and I think as soon as people hear it, they think something majestic, the Olympics, or this kind of triumph of the human spirit. And I think for me, I wanted something that could represent that to start the program, because then we have a development and a true representation of, I think, the power of human resilience and endurance and fortitude in the Shostakovich symphony. So it's like bookends in a way.
I mean, the Shostakovich, obviously Russian, Copland, how obviously American is that?
Oh, I think quintessentially American. But, it reminds me, just you saying that reminds me so much of my teacher, Leonard Bernstein, when he conducted in the New York Philharmonic in Moscow, I think it was, and he gave a talk to the audience about how similar American and Russian music and peoples really are at the core. So while they're both very, very much from their cultural origins, I think there's an esprit that's really shared.
What of the Mendelssohn, because that's such a well-known piece, the violin concerto. How do you approach a piece like that when you know how well-known it is?
For the conductor in a situation, it's much more of a supporting role. So my goal is to support my soloist's interpretation. He's a consummate musician, and so I'm imagining that it's a very, very straightforward, not exaggerated kind of performance.
So if it comes to new ideas or new interpretations in that kind of context, that would be led by the soloist, and then you would respond?
That's my approach always with a soloist, is to try to take the partner role in that and be as supportive as I can.
The Shostakovich, let's talk about the scale of it first of all. The size of the orchestra, the length of the piece. I mean, it's massive on every level.
Yeah, especially for the Shostakovich 7, which has enormous orchestra. And the most distinguishing factor is the double brass groups. So you have this huge brass section over here and another one over here. And as the march, which constitutes a large portion of the first movement, as it proceeds and builds up, these two forces really coming from different fronts. You can imagine at the wartime, depicting this battle. I mean, you just feel it, and hopefully viscerally we'll feel it as well.
And how much do you think it's important for people who are there to have at least a grasp of the historical context behind which the piece was written?
All music has a narrative, and if we can know the story a little bit, we can then take it to the next step ourselves as listeners. So I do think understanding the historical significance of the time in which Shostakovich wrote this piece really can help.
Because it takes us back to what you said about accessibility to an extent as well, doesn't it?
Yes.
People's understanding of what they're seeing and listening to.
Exactly. But I think music is different in that while there is a definite narrative, the narrative can be very individual as well. So, you hearing the piece, you may hear something else because, of course, you're relating it to your own personal experience. That's why I adore music, because we can each interpret it however we want, and it's valid. So no one has to come and listen in a certain way. No one has to come and wear certain clothes. No one has to come and clap at a certain point. It's all about you.